whimsy, Dr. Moore will long be remembered beyond our time, I'm sure. God must have a sense of humor to have wrapped all of the hopes of the world in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. Christ wasn't born like a Messiah. And Christ didn't act like a Messiah. You know, we have a way of looking for our leaders to be leaders, to have them look like leaders, to have them talk like leaders. We might compare Ronald Reagan and George W. Bush as presidents of our country. We can't really say that Mr. Reagan was more intelligent or better intentioned than Mr. Bush, yet no matter what your politics, you must admit that Mr. Reagan walked and talked a bit more like a president. Jesus would not have made a president of the United States. And even he probably wouldn't have made mayor of Nazareth. And that is disconcerting to a world that respects position and power and authority. In the light of the economic downturn that we've experienced and the growing unemployment, it's interesting to read an article that appeared back in the 1980s in USA Today. The article lists demands made by people who were looking for jobs as reported by professional employment counselors. And listen to some of the requests that these applicants for positions were looking for in their position. A 3-week paid vacation before starting work. A paid membership to the city zoo. Elvis Presley's birthday off. Medical benefits for faith healer visits. Italian and Chinese restaurants close to the office. Extra pay for time thinking about work, nights and weekends. And finally, a promise from the mailroom to collect all foreign postage stamps for the potential employee's son's stamp collection. Yes, we are humbled by the life of a Messiah who was not above washing the feet of his disciples. We remember the words of old Simeon that we read just a moment ago, that day long ago in Jerusalem, when he said to Mary and Joseph, "This child is destined for the falling of many in Jerusalem." And then he said, the inner thoughts of many hearts will be revealed. No, he wasn't born like a Messiah. He didn't act like a Messiah. And he didn't die like a Messiah. Even as we celebrate his birth, we must anticipate the agony of his death. That was an enormous obstacle for those people of the first century. To believe that this Messiah who was to deliver Israel from all of her enemies could die like a common criminal on a cross. In 1 Corinthians, St. Paul calls it the foolishness of God. God's foolishness. God has confounded our human wisdom so that no one can boast. No one can boast of being intelligent enough or virtuous enough to deserve salvation. The only thing that saves us is faith. Faith in the crucified Messiah. You and I would not have done it that way. We would not have done it that way at all. As we celebrate this event, we must admit that what makes it so special is that this King of Kings and Lord of Lords offered up his life for us, for you and for me. He wasn't born like a Messiah. He didn't act like a Messiah. And he certainly didn't die like a Messiah. No wonder his own people had difficulty accepting him. He was a problem. He was a problem for them. Charlie Brown of Peanuts fame was just having a difficult time getting into the spirit of Christmas. And his little friend Linus observed, "Charlie Brown, you're the only person I know who can make a wonderful season like Christmas into a problem." For Jesus' contemporaries, Christmas was a problem. But for us, what a gift. What a gift Christmas is. That babe wrapped in swaddling clothes. What a gift he turned out to be. And we remember those other words that Simeon spoke that day long ago. Mine eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the presence of all people, a light to lighten the Gentiles and the glory of your people Israel. And then he said, this child is destined for the rising of many in Israel. What a gift. What a gift God has given us in Christmas. Samuel Beckett wrote a play called Waiting for Godot. The play is about two down-and-out fellows who spend their aimless time waiting for a character named Godot. And it soon becomes evident that this name Godot is synonymous with God. And these two tramps are expecting that when Godot comes, he will explain life to them. And he will bring an end to the insignificance of their experience of life. Days pass, day after day passes, and each day a child comes to them and informs them that Godot will not arrive until tomorrow. And the sad joke is that Godot never comes. Fortunately, God didn't do that to Israel or to us. The long-awaited gift arrived in a babe wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger. He didn't look as he was expected to look. He didn't act as he was expected to act. He didn't die as expected. But in the wisdom and in the providence of God, he did far more for us than we could have ever imagined. There was only one reason for all of that. It was the year 1980, the day before Christmas. Richard Ballinger's mother was busy. She was wrapping Christmas packages, and so she asked her little boy Richard to polish her shoes for her. Soon, with a proud smile on his face, which only could be produced by a 7-year-old, he presented the nicely shined shoes to his mother, and she was so pleased, she gave him a quarter. On Christmas morning, as she was putting on her shoes, getting ready to go to church, she noticed a lump in her shoe. She took it off, and inside she found a quarter wrapped in a piece of paper. And written in scrawling writing, as only a child could do, were the words, "I done it for love. I done it for love." God's gift arrived, wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger. And somewhere in that manger crib, we can imagine wrapped up a note with the words, "I done it for love. I done it for love." Amen.